Okay, I'm working on my next project, and that is replacing the front windshield molding around here. And again, I didn't find a whole lot of help on the internet with any instructions, but the molding you get, you're going to have some new clips that'll come with it. I'm going to kind of zoom in here, and you can see the old clips here, which I'm going to be replacing and pulling out. So I'm going to go ahead and start first with taking one of these clips out, and what I found works the easiest is just take some needle nose pliers and kind of work them out. Now on these clips, you're going to notice kind of right here in the center there's a little, looks like a little nail head that these clips actually hook around here, so you're going to want to make sure you work it back kind of off of that and lift up as you're bringing that clip out, just like this, and you see that clip will pop right out of there. So now you're just left with that real clean nail head, and I recommend taking a vacuum and just kind of going down along the molding after you pull the clips out and just vacuum out some of that old rust and clean it out real good. But I'll show you again, if you just take that needle nose pliers, get a hold of that clip, kind of rotate it back, you see how that pops out very cleanly, and then again you're left with that little nail head right here that you're going to want to reattach that new clip to. So I'm going to go ahead and finish pulling the rest of these clips out, and I'll show you my technique for putting the new clips in. Okay, here's one of the new clips, and you can see how they're kind of bent at the end there, and what you're going to want to do is find that little nail head, and you're going to see the clip itself has kind of a groove in it, so just center it right over that nail head like this. And I'm going to see if I can let that just sit there. And then what I've done is I just take a little tool like this and kind of fan out a little bit. I found at the auto parts store. It's actually a door trim tool. But what you can do is kind of put that tool right on the base of that clip, like, well, it fell off, but I'll put it in there, and then pop it up underneath there, and that should get the clip underneath that seal. Okay, you'll see how I've popped that clip on right here. Just put some pressure against the bottom part of that clip and push it over that little nail head. You see how it's kind of centered on that nail head now, and that'll allow you to begin to work the clip down and back up underneath the molding. So I'm going to kind of start working that down with my needle nose, and then I use a little piece of wood to just pop it. So what I've done now is I've just kind of tapped the clip to where it's laying kind of flat and back up hooked underneath there. And what I like to do now is it's pretty simple. I've just got a piece of wood that I'm going to place on that clip. If you got something pretty flat, let me get around here to where you can see, and just pop with your hand, just pop that clip right down in. Okay, and you'll see how that clip is just snugged over that little nail head now. So you just, you don't need a lot of tools. You definitely don't want to use a lot of force, but just kind of work that clip, starting with it facing upwards. Here's another one here. You can see you put that bent end down, set it right over the center of that, and then basically you're going to begin to snap it back and work it in this way. And it's really not difficult. Just kind of pop it in and then take that little piece of board and tap it in, and you should be good to go. Okay, you can see I've got all three of the new side clips in now, and I'm just going to continue to work back around the top and the bottom. I tell you, once you get the hang of it, it's super easy to change these clips out. I was a little concerned, but they do pop right back up underneath that rubber. Again, just look for these little nail heads here, or what I've done is I'm just kind of going along and pulling one of the old clips out, and then right there vacuuming it out and replacing it with a new clip. Okay, I've got all the clips replaced now and cleaned up. Wasn't too much of a challenge. Again, just take your time, just work those clips back in behind that molding, and they do pop in pretty easy. Just have something nice and flat like a piece of wood to kind of knock them back in. Okay, looks like we're all done with the trim and all popped on nice and straight. You can kind of see how everything lined up real nice, and not a bad job at all. It took me probably about an hour to go through and pop those old clips off and get everything cleaned up and get those new clips. And I recommend, even if those old clips look semi-good, if you've got the new ones, take the time, pop them out, put those new ones in. I hope that helps a little bit for the weekend mechanic like myself. Makes it kind of fun when you can work on these old gals and get them looking nicer.